just gonna have some fun with some hip hop. Little hip hop. That's all. Just relax. Hold on to your seats. Oh yeah, this is the total banger too. Word up. This is the total banger, baby. Hip hop style, baby. Y'all remember? By the middle of March.
Let's get this thing going. We're live, back in action, attacking your speakers from the field to the bleachers. This is the Power 32 podcast, and here we go. I got my main man, Mr. Primetime 313, with me as always, ready to rock and roll. How you feeling today, my brother?
What up, though, man? What up, though? How you doing? Hey, the weather up here, man, 95 degrees. It's like 8 o'clock up here, man, and it's still like 90 degrees outside, 80% humidity. So, yeah, for, a lot of people that like this shit, I don't. And, not at all. But yeah, man, doing well, doing well. How you doing? What's going on with you?
Yo, I'm great, man, because all 32 teams are in training camp, so it is officially on, bro. We are ready to
Absolutely.
go. And we're going to
Absolutely.
talk about it this power hour of the Power 32 podcast. But have to mention something kind of sad right off the top of the bat. We have been losing a lot of people lately, as we always do. We're getting older, and that's the weird part, watching people that I grew up with dying, passing away, and relatively at a young age. And today we lost Hulk Hogan, bro, at
Ye-
71.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm a huge, huge, huge wrestling fan. I have been since I was like 5 years old, and watching all the old school wrestlers and stuff like that. But Hulk Hogan was the guy
Yeah,
that put professional wrestling on the map, and it became more than just a couple guys being in the ring beating the shit out of each other. It became a spectacle. It
yep,
became a must see. It became where characters were. It was more character based, more character focused, and Hulk Hogan was the first guy really to put the WWE, WWF at that time on the map. Vince McMahon took him, and he and Hulk Hogan took professional wrestling to heights. A lot of these, everybody that wrestles now has Hulk Hogan to thank for any modicum of success
yeah,
that they have, man.
no
And
doubt.
I remember WrestleMania with Mr. T. I remember WrestleMania with Andre the Giant, 93,000 people at the Pontiac Silverdome,
Yes.
all the way up through his, going to WCW, the NWO, um, just changing the face of professional wrestling. He did it on two separate occasions. So the wrestling world suffered a big loss today with the loss of Terry Bollea, aka Hulk Hogan, and prayers and thoughts go out to his family. But just know this, that Hulkamania will never die. There's a lot of people that don't like him as a person, but you can't deny what he did and what he meant to professional wrestling as a wrestler. And he's going to be missed. He was always an ambassador for sports entertainment, and the professional wrestling world is really, really going to miss him. Friday night SmackDown, Monday Night Raw, they'll probably be laced with tributes for this guy.
Oh,
It's a tough pill to swallow.
forget it. No doubt about it. Tributes all over the place. There's no doubt. Again, Hulk Hogan, say what you want about him and his TV show, the way that he acted with his family, whatever, yada, yada. There's a whole lot of stuff in there. Him with Donald Trump lately, campaigning around, doing his thing. But Hulk Hogan is one of those immortals, a figure like, almost like a deity type of guy where he's above, larger than life. But the thing about Hulk Hogan, it's really funny to me. When you look at him, he doesn't look like the prototypical wrestler that would take you to those heights. The thing is, he did have the showmanship, which was great. And, he had the, I'm going to get rid of you, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to punch you, and I'm going to punch all those things. So he had that, but, he was like freaking bald. He had like little streaks of blonde hair coming out the back of his head. He wore yellow tights. It was weird, man, but he was the guy that took wrestling to where it is now. And look how many things, what have they got? AEW. I don't even know what else they got.
It's huge. And the one thing you can always measure a guy, especially when it comes to wrestling, when you can say Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins and all these other guys, but everybody, even non-wrestling fans, have heard the name Hulk Hogan,
Of course.
and they know who he is and what he is. So, yeah, he didn't look like, he looked more like a big, like an old beach bum.
Yeah,
That's kind of what he looked like. But
a
he,
real big one.
but he
Real
had
big
he had a larger than life personality, and there were just the real American. You know, the say your prayers, eat your vitamins, all that type of stuff. He was really really big with the kids, and
No
he's
doubt.
gonna be missed, man. He's gonna be missed.
He'll live on. He'll live on. We'll make sure of that. And I'm sure, like you said, WWE and all those other ones are going to pay tribute to him. No doubt about it. So very cool. All right. We start off with trivia. We had a tribute to Hulk Hogan, which was, deserved. We both grew up watching him, like you mentioned, in your hometown in the Pontiac Dome in WrestleMania 3, slamming Andre the Giant, like unforgettable stuff. But we start off with our trivia, and you have been doing amazing lately, and I have to step up my game. I got to make it a little bit harder. So I feel that you can get this one. There may be one of the guys, I'm not sure, but let's see. Let's see what we got. Here we go. Trivia. NFL trivia. Between 1998 and 2002, the Denver Broncos had 4 different running backs to go over 1,000 yards rushing.
Oh, man.
You have got to name those 4 players. You got 6 tries to do it.
Oh my God. Because I remember this. I don't remember the guys rough, but I remember them making a big deal about that. It was, I want to say first Orlandis Gary. Was he one of them?
Good one, man. Yeah, very good.
Man, I can't picture the names. You might have got me on this one. Was Terrell Davis still?
Yes.
Okay.
He's in there. 2. You got 2 to go.
Wow.
Orlandis Gary was a good one. Yep. Terrell Davis, obviously.
Did Clinton Portis play with the Broncos?
Did he now?
Is he one of those guys?
He is one of those guys, bro.
Wow.
He's in there.
And I got one left.
One left.
And
Here we go.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
Done well so far. Clinton Portis, Orlandis Gary, and Terrell Davis. 3 out of the 4 running backs between 98 and 2002 who were playing for 1,000 yards. You got 1 to go. And you got a couple of guesses to get it.
I'm trying to even think back to the running backs because they were making a big because of their zone blocking scheme. It was like you can put anybody back there and they can run for 1,000 yards.
Yeah. I know you know the name, so it's not crazy. It's not like
it's people. Not. I'm gonna go. I'm probably burn one of my guesses here. I'm gonna say, oh crap. I can't. I mean, I was gonna say like Fred Lane, but I that's probably not it.
No, don't waste a guess on that. No.
Gee, I can't. You might have got me on this one, man. I can't
Between
even.
98 and 2002, the Broncos had 4 different running backs to go over for 1,000 yards rushing. Name all 4.
Here, did the guy play for? Well, I'm assuming he played for another team other than the Broncos as well.
He moved around a little bit. Like this guy wasn't around for a while, but he's a name that you know, and if you don't get it, you're going to be like, oh, God.
Garrison Hurst?
Not Garrison Hurst. Interesting guess right there. Not Hurst. You got 1 more to get it.
Man, I'm trying this.
I wonder if
I'm probably going to kick myself too when I hear the name. Here, I won't burn up any more time. Go ahead and tell me who it is.
Mike Anderson.
Oh, I would. Oh my God. Yeah, yeah. You talk
Mike
about.
Anderson.
I thought Orlandis Gary was like the obscure running back reference that we had just now, but Mike Anderson. How many people even remember who Mike? I was gonna say like Gary Anderson or something, but he's a kicker.
I'm probably giving you half credit.
But yeah, man, Mike Anderson. Jesus, that's a name you don't hear every day. Actually, that's a name you don't hear at all.
No. But you got 3 out of 4, man. That's well done. The Orlandis Gary one was really tough. So
that's crazy. Impressive. Orlandis Gary.
Oh, all right.
Well, I got one for you.
Oh, you do? Do you?
I got one for you. I got one for you. And
did you?
This is a two-parter. So feel free to. So we always talk about quarterbacks and their legacy and what we remember them for, what we remember certain teams for. So I got a double feature for you.
Okay.
Who was the last quarterback to win a playoff game for ... the Oakland Raiders and the Chicago Bears?
Raiders and Bears, the last quarterback to win a playoff game for each.
Not
I'm
to
gonna
go to the playoffs, but to actually win a playoff game.
I'm gonna go Bears. I'm gonna just throw it out there and give it a shot. I think Mitchell Trubisky.
No, good
No?
guess, but no.
Oh, not Trubisky, huh?
Got to go back farther.
Really?
Got to go back
Trubisky
farther
didn't
than
win
Trubisky.
one.
No.
Oh God, Trubisky didn't win one. You can't. The Raiders and the Bears. Wow. So
That's why I picked those two teams.
last quarterback to win a playoff game for each team. Dude, that's a great question, man. Wow, I like that. I don't know where you pulled that one from, but the Bears, we can go maybe Jay Cutler.
Bingo.
Okay.
Jay
We got
Cutler,
Cutler for the Bears.
2010.
The Raiders now, that's a little bit tougher.
Here, I'll give you a hint.
You know what?
We've mentioned this guy numerous times, probably more than we should on this show. We've mentioned this guy a lot on this show, probably once every 2 weeks. He gets some type of reference or there's something involving this particular guy. We kind of talk about the school he went to and everything.
And now you kind of threw me off a little bit. I thought I had it. For a
You
second.
probably still got it. I always say go with your first mind.
I thought it was Derek Carr.
Nope. No, unfortunately, no. That's because that when I thought that originally too, but he has not won a playoff game with the Raiders. Think early 2000s.
Well, it's not the guy we talked about last week, is it?
Who's that?
Rich Gannon?
It is Rich Gannon.
Oh my gosh! Wow,
Rich
that
Gannon.
is a long time.
2002.
Oh, man.
Sorry, Raider fans. It's been that long since you've won a playoff game.
Damn, bro! I didn't.
I'll give
realize
you
it was
bonus
that
points
long.
if you get the Colts.
The Colts' last quarterback to win a playoff game.
Yep.
Philip Rivers did not do it. Is it as easy as Andrew Luck?
It is as easy as Andrew Luck.
Okay. All right,
There
I'll
you
take
go.
it.
There you go. Yeah.
Good question, man. I like it.
wait.
Well done. Well done. I love it. Trivia, NFL, we do it all the freaking time. I'll be here on the Power 32 podcast. Loving it.
Multifaceted, ladies
Yes,
and gentlemen.
indeed. Good questions right there, Prime.
Thank you.
I like it. Well done. So listen, we hear about Jerry Jones all the time. We talked about player contracts and used potentially being hit by a car as not a reason to give out a high-paying contract. He mentioned Dak Prescott's contract and how he missed the majority of the season last year after being paid the highest contract annually in NFL history. But the one thing we know about the Cowboys star players, they do get their contracts done. I mean, Dak got his done on the first day of the season last year, and CeeDee Lamb wasn't too much more before that. So I feel like – now, here's the thing about Micah Parsons, real quick. He's on his fifth-year option right now, Prime.
Yep.
And the Dallas Cowboys can franchise him for 2 more years after that. They have his rights for a long time.
Is that a reason, though, not to sign him? Because I think the cap hit for him is $24 million this year. So it's not like he is, playing for food stamps and EBT cards. So he's going to get a nice chunk of change. I think what he wants is, and I'll ask you this, and I'll ask people in the chat and people, does he deserve? We know what Jerry Jones doesn't like to do, and they were very hesitant on the Dak Prescott contract. That kind of took a minute to get resolved, but eventually it did. So did CeeDee Lamb. Do you think that Micah Parsons should be in that rarefied air with Myles Garrett and T.J. Watt? Should he be a $40 million guy? Because that's what I think. That's what I think he's going to be because he's already making $24 million this year. If you franchise him next year, you do all the calculations, whatnot, he'll probably end up being right at, maybe 35, 38 million, and that
Right,
depends on
Mike,
how much
yeah.
the salary cap goes up next year. So you're
Right.
probably going to end up doing it anyway. So you just make the deal now, get them cheaper than what you'll do if you franchise them for 2 straight years.
You know what? They should make the deal now. I understand why they're not, in a way. I know it's kind of crazy, and David McNiner chiming in saying Micah Crisis disappears in big games, not worth $40 million a season. I don't know. I may disagree with McNiner on that. I mean, when you look at these other guys making their $40 million, like Myles Garrett, you know, Micah Parsons is like 4 or 5 years younger than these guys, and he's got all the talent in the world, and he is the Cowboys defense. So I say you pay the guy. I mean, look, Dallas shells out their money, and they paid CeeDee Lamb, and they paid Dak Prescott. You got to pay somebody on the defense, man. Absolutely. So I think that Micah Parsons is a must. You can't let that go. And again, I believe he's going to get paid. I think that Jerry Jones just loves the freaking spotlight. And as long as he can get that, and as long as cameras are on him, he's going to eat it up, and he'll prolong this thing. Look, he's been talking to Micah Parsons in camp. He probably already told him, look, we're going to get the deal done. Just relax. Don't worry about it. And that's why Micah is there working out.
Yeah, and this is one of the reasons why people get so, that Dallas Cowboy fatigue, because it is about the spotlight, but it's always the spotlight for the wrong reason. It's not the spotlight because you're winning playoff games. It's not the spotlight because you're contending for Super Bowls. It's always the spotlight because Jerry Jones is coming out saying something, something outlandish, or the underachievement of the team. And what Dallas needs to do, and I don't know if this will even happen, Prophet, until Jerry Jones is no longer at the head of that team, they need to start focusing on winning. They need to stop worrying about all these contract disputes and all these saying things for sound bites and podcasts and this, that, and focus on winning. If they put that much energy into securing their roster, getting the people signed that they need to, going out there week after week and performing at a high level, I think a lot of people would respect the Cowboys a little bit more and just not look at the Cowboys as like that team every year that's, this is their year. And it never is, and it hasn't been for 30 years.
No, it hasn't been for 30 years. They haven't made it. They're the longest running NFC team to not make it to the NFC Championship.
Isn't say that again for the people in the back. Yeah. Say that one more time for me.
For you Dallas Cowboy fans, listen up carefully, clearly now. The Dallas Cowboys are the longest running NFC team to not make an NFC Championship, let alone a Super Bowl. An NFC Championship. It's been that long. And Jerry Jones is a problem. There's no doubt about it. McNiner saying real quick against us, as far as Micah Parsons goes, he disappears. Jerry Jones compared him to Trevor Lawrence. That must be dementia. Gotta love it, as City Juice is laughing in on that one. Gotta love that stuff. But you know what? He's not the only owner, Jerry Jones, with dementia or says crazy things. Mike Brown, the owner of the freaking Cincinnati Bengals. Again, we're talking about the circus in the NFC with the Cowboys, and now the one in the AFC with the freaking Bengals. Bengals owner Mike Brown, when referring to Trey Hendrickson, said he's hard to deal with. Why would you say something like that? Just say you're in contract negotiations. Say you're in talks. What do you mean you're saying he's hard to deal with? Why do you want to put that friction there? And the next thing you know, Hendrickson is going to Florida. He's nowhere near training camp.
And again, this is where, this is why a lot of people dislike sports owners, especially owners in the NFL, because it seems like a lot of them are clueless. And you got to know your audience. You got to know the situation. You got to know your audience. And to come out and say something like that, okay, so he's hard to deal with, but apparently so are you guys. He's not coming out and saying how stupid you guys are for not having him signed to a contract already. So he's taking his time off. He's like you say, he's nowhere near training camp right now. You really can't blame him. But when the owner of my football team comes out, we're in contract negotiations, and he comes out and says something like that to me, that means that he's, in my opinion, to me personally, if I was Trey, he's not taking this as seriously as he should. Because again, this goes back for, you're saying stuff for sound bites, you're saying stuff for the news, you're saying stuff for podcasts. There's no substance behind what you said, and there's no reason for you to say what you said. So if I'm Trey Hendrickson, I'll sit back. I'll hold out a training camp, and I'll hold out the first 3-4 games of the season if I have to, simply to send a message, because you're not. He's got all the leverage. He's the best player on their defense.
Yeah.
You're not going to find anybody better. You're not going to find anybody as good as him for cheaper. Go ahead and make him a member of the $40 million club, because that's going to be the new standard. We already talked about that the last couple of weeks.
Right.
Make him a member of the $40 million club, even if it's 3 years. Give him the same deal that Pittsburgh gave J.J. Watt.
Sure.
And be done with it.
Sure. You don't have to do 4. You could do 3 years, and he'll be plenty happy if he's making 38, 39, $40 million. No doubt about it. And Mike Brown keeps going, referring to now first-round pick Shamar Stewart, that the reason why they're putting these stipulations in his contract to not guarantee certain money is because he's afraid he's going to end up in jail one day. I mean, he really said that. Mike Brown, look, God bless the guy, 89 years old. I don't know what else he could say, but I'll even give you a quick quote from him. 89 years old, Mike Brown. Maybe you just shouldn't speak anymore. He said, quote, his agent, this is from CBS Sports, his agent wants to be so that if he acted in a terrible fashion, this is all hypothetical, something that rises to the level of going to prison, that would be on the line of guarantees for future years that haven't been paid. Brown said, and our position is no. If that happens, we're not going to be. We're not going to pay someone who's sitting in jail. That's not what we're going to do. Why in the world is he going to the extreme of talking about somebody being in jail? And Shamar Stewart, who was your rookie first-round pick, why would you want to create that friction? I don't get it.
This is something I'm really curious to know what our soon-to-be a Hall of Fame offensive tackle Richmond Webb, remember the Texas A&M Aggies. I wonder what this would be like the perfect time to have him on the show to ask him that question. However, let's go back a few years.
About that.
Let's go back a few years. Remember when Cincinnati, every single offseason, somebody was going to jail, somebody was in trouble, you had a player, a player pass away. I mean, so now all of a sudden he wants to stand on his soapbox, so high and mighty, and talk about something that, now correct me if I'm wrong, Chat, Prophet, does Shamar Stewart have any prior, is there anything that would lead us to believe that going to prison could potentially be something that you have to worry about with this guy? Because from all accounts that I can recall, he's a pretty decent guy, pretty good teammate. He works hard, and he just wants these ridiculous stipulations in his contract removed.
That's all. I don't know what the problem is. Look, again, other teams have certain things like this in their contract, but you guarantee a certain amount of money. He's your first round pick. Why are you doing this? Especially when Trey Hendrickson is not in camp. You need Shamar Stewart, even though, again, me personally, I don't think he's going to be great, even though he's got incredible athletic ability. Maybe something will happen out of him. Maybe Al Golden will coach him up on the defensive side of the ball in Cincinnati. But my God, man, saying these things is just unbelievable to me. And you know what? If you're 89 years old, maybe you should just stop.
Well, this goes back to like remember when Marge Schott, the owner of the Reds, used to make outlandish statements, and Donald Sterling of the Clippers, we give them clothes and cars, and a lot of these owners, man, I think there has to be a time, there has to be a point where it's like, you know what, who's gatekeeping these guys, and who's saying like, look, Mr. Brown, that might not be something you want to say. Where's the PR people? These guys got billions of dollars.
That's the thing.
They need something for the NFL revenue sharing, by the way. Their paychecks came out $400 million a team, $432 million. The NFL made like $14 billion. Every team got a check for like $430 million this offseason for revenue sharing. So it's not like I get the salary cap. You and I both know salary cap is imaginary. You can do whatever you want with it, manipulate it however you want to do it. Backload, front load, whatever. $432 million, he just got a check in the mail for so come on. It's not like you don't have the money. The rich keep getting richer, and
that's how the world goes, my brother. That's how it happens. Man. Rich get richer. My
it sucks. God. It sucks if you're Trey Hendricks. I feel bad for him. I feel bad for Shamar Stewart too.
there's a lot of rich quarterbacks out there. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put up the phone number. So if you guys want to call in, you can get in on it. We're going to talk a lot of quarterback action right now. So starting with actually some news that came down today with Justin Fields. Not the greatest news in the entire world, but it doesn't seem like there's time to pause or cause to pause or worry about it. They say it's day to day, not that big of a deal. They say he'll be ready by game 1, but I'm sure he'll be practicing before that. He was carted off the field, but you need him to play because your backups are Tyrod Taylor, Adrian Martinez, and Brady Cook. I don't know who those last two people are.
Who's that? Thank you. You took the words right. I'm like, Adrian Martinez.
Who? What?
Okay. That their backup is like the who's who of who's that. Their backup quarterbacks. Brady Cook. Wow, that's okay.
Give me a break, man.
What is it? It was his toe, right? It was his toe. And the whole their speculation, their optimism was, well, he rode in the passenger side of the cart. He wasn't like on the back of the cart laid out. They didn't have to stretch him out or anything. But it's still something to kind of look at. Especially for a semi-mobile guy.
Yeah,
you need
it's
your
a
toes.
dislocated toe, right now. But that's not the worst thing in the world. He'll have time to heal up, I believe, and he'll come around. And that's what I'm going to talk about for a minute. Justin Fields, the New York Jets, and do they have a prayer this year? And I'm coming around to, maybe they do if they go ahead and run a certain type of offense, which is predominantly running. I want to see them run 65% of the time with Justin Fields, with Breece Hall, with Braylon Allen, because you got Garrett Wilson, who's a great wide receiver. But after that, Josh Reynolds, Arian Smith, Malachi Corley. I mean, yeah, you got Alan Lazard there, but Aaron Rodgers ain't there anymore, so that ain't that big of a deal. Their defense is pretty good, and we know they got players on there like Quinnen Williams and Quincy Williams, who happen to be brothers, as a matter of fact. Gardner just got paid a whole lot of money, Sauce Gardner, one of the top cornerbacks in the league. I like the Jets' chances to at least compete this year. I'm not saying they're going to go anywhere and do anything and surprise everybody and make a run to the AFC Championship, but I think that they have the coaching, who I like, in Aaron Glenn. I know you love him as well. I think the Jets can be a competitive team this year because I feel like Justin Fields last year took a step with Pittsburgh, and he's ready now to not just be a part of a team, but maybe be the leader of a team. And if he could do that and get that respect from his teammates, I think New York might be all right.
I kind of agree a little bit. My biggest thing with the Jets is that you mentioned their receiving core. After Garrett Wilson, you don't know who, you don't know
Not
these
much.
guys. After Justin Fields, you don't know who these guys are, so I think depth is one of those things that are going to come back and haunt the Jets as far as their receiving core. Their running backs are solid. Their defense is solid. But the thing that stops me from being high on the Jets is that in that division, we already kind of said that the Patriots are going to show improvement. If you're a Dolphins fan, you hope that your Dolphins are in contention for a playoff spot, and nobody's going to catch the Bills. So I asked the question, what would be considered a good first year for Aaron Glenn? Is it 6 wins? Is it 8 wins? Is it, what is going to be that benchmark this year? Because we know how the New York Jets burn through head coaches. So what is going to be the bar this year that the New York fans and media and organization accept from Aaron Glenn to say, okay, we look and we see what we see this year, and we think we're moving in the right direction? Because if this team wins like 4 games, there's going to be rumblings already that maybe Aaron Glenn wasn't the right guy for the job. I don't think they're going to give him a very long leash at all, despite what the contract may say.
All right, we'll see. I think that he'll be given some time because, again, new quarterback, new system, everything is brand new for them. And as far as Fields goes, I do think that he is a good enough player. And I think that they're going to try to placate the offense to him where, you cut the field in half. You look through your progressions, 1, 2. If it's not there, take off and run. He's got that ability. So I'm really interested to see what happens with that. And as far as the play callers out there, it's just something you have to do. You have to conform to who you have. Last year, Aaron Rodgers and those guys won 6 games. So losing any more than that, 6 or under, is certainly a failure. I think they have to get to at least 8, 9 wins and be a competitive team. Yeah, they got to be competitive, man. They can't just go out there and lose by 20 points every game. They have to show the competitive. And even if the Jets lose games by 3, 4 points here and there, but they're in it till the end of the game, they're in it in the fourth quarter, that's at least a good sign and a progression going forward with guys who may be together for a while.
Okay, well, and that I can agree with that. Like you say, they do have to probably focus very much on the run. So I'm going to ask you this: so, is Justin Fields, where does he rank as far as the quarterbacks in that division? I know you're not a huge Tua fan, so is he the 4th best quarterback in that division? I mean, and that's going to mean something. I'm not a. We look at the first few games he had with the Steelers last year, and it was like, wow, if he can perform that well in the Steelers offense. He goes to the Jets, and now he doesn't have to worry about looking over his shoulder. Is he still the 4th best quarterback in that division? Because people are expecting big things from Drake May.
Probably, yeah, to be honest with you. We know Josh Allen, cream of the crop. Drake May, we expect to take a step forward this year. Vegas has some 8.5 wins. You get Stephon Diggs in there to help out a little bit. And then with Miami, I know I'm actually a bigger Tua fan than you think. The thing is that he just can't stay healthy. When he plays, they play well. When he played that full season a couple of years ago, they lit it up. I mean, they were one of the best offenses in the league. So I am a Tua fan, but not where I want him to be the quarterback of my team, because I'm afraid that he's going to get hurt, and he usually will, and he does, and that's a big problem. So Justin Fields, maybe, if he has a good year and he's rushing the ball a lot, which has got to be a big part of this game, they got to run the ball, and they got to do it with the 3 guys I mentioned, with Braylon Allen and Breece Hall and Justin Fields. They all got to run the ball. If they do, and play solid defense and play smart, don't turn the ball over, look, I think Fields could do fine. He was 4-2 last year. He had 5 touchdowns, I think 1 interception. He ran for touchdowns. Justin Fields is a good player. He really is. So I think that good things are going to happen for the Jets, bro. And we'll see moving forward. We got a lot of time for that. We're going to talk about that. We're going to start breaking down the division starting August 7th. We're bringing in guests to it. Guys that know that the divisions well, players, teams, all that good stuff. So we'll get that going on. All right. You mentioned Tua. Tua and his relationship with Tyreek Hill, not great. Tua said that it is still a work in progress, not just for me, but for everybody, stemming from Tyreek Hill saying that he wanted out of Miami. Tyreek Hill is your best offensive player, pretty much hands down, no doubt about it. Right. And if he's gone, they got a big problem. Jalen Waddle's a good player. He's not unbelievably great. You don't have a lot of great offensive weapons. I do like Devon Achane, their running back, and Tua is a good player. But if Tua doesn't have Tyreek Hill, he's going to be nowhere the player that he's capable of being. So they got to amend this situation over here or figure something out before training camp to get Tyreek Hill out and try to get another wide receiver in.
I don't think that getting rid of Tyreek Hill is an option for the Dolphins, especially when we've talked about it before when their head coach is in a position right now to where he's already got that fan base on edge, and they feel that he's been underachieving. So I don't think getting rid of Tyreek Hill is an option. What I do think is that Tyreek Hill and Tua and Waddle and those guys need to sit in a room and say, hey, man, look, I think that was a whole heat of the moment thing. I don't think that he truly ever wanted to leave Miami, if nothing else for the weather.
I agree with the heat of the moment.
I don't think that. Yeah, I don't think he meant what he said. But the problem is he said it, and he never came out to apologize or anything like that. Right. And it's not even perception of what we think. It's what the guys in your locker room think. So, and you kind of alluded to that a little bit. What he's got to do, man, is he's got to sit in a room and tell his guys, look, I was pissed off about a couple things. Things weren't going the way that I expected, whether it be money, whether it be the direction of the team, whether it be what I perceive the future of this team being. But you know what? It was a heat of the moment thing. I didn't mean anything. Let's go out here and do this thing, because to tell you what, Miami right now with the division that they're in, and you talk about the potential of the Jets being competitive. We talk about the potential of the Patriots improving, and we already know what we're going to get from the Bills. If this indeed is not their last stand, but getting close to it, can't afford to have any distractions. You have everybody on the same page, everybody as one unit. Whether we don't have to go out to the bar and drink, we don't have to go out to the movies together, go bowling together, but we do have to learn to coexist as teammates. And right now, the Miami Dolphins are not in a position where they can have any distractions, considering what's at stake for them this year. And I don't know if I'm overstating that, but that's just
no. I don't think you're overstating it, because we talked about Mike McDaniel and Tua both being on the hot seat. Tua making $53 million a year is a lot of money, so it's going to be hard to get rid of without having to pay a lot of his contract. But Mike McDaniel, yeah, man, you're going to have to show up this year. And with that division seemingly getting better with the Patriots and maybe even the Jets for Justin Fields this year, got to stay competitive. If you fall in the cellar of that division, Mike McDaniel is out of here. I'm telling you that right now.
Absolutely, he's gone.
All right, now Tua is not a top 10 quarterback, but I believe for the life of me, Jalen Hurts is a top 10 quarterback and maybe even a top 5 quarterback. But there's been a lot of pushback, and I hear you saying, right there, right off the bat, and I would like to get your opinion on this. Do you feel that Jalen Hurts, and I want to open this up to you guys in the chat, and you can also call in 516-205-7574. Jalen Hurts, I believe that he is better than what most people think, and he was ranked 9th on the ESPN list. Dude, the guy's a winner. He's been a winner everywhere he went, whether it's Oklahoma, Alabama, coming into the league and really doing well for the most. He had a rough first year, didn't have a high completion percentage, but then all of a sudden, going to a Super Bowl, the next year they're 10-1. They fall off, they lose in the playoffs, but then they go back to the Super Bowl and dismantle the Patriots. And yeah, he was a big part of it, because you know what? Saquon did not have a big game in the Super Bowl. I think Jalen Hurts is vastly underrated, and I think putting Jaden Daniels ahead of him is freaking ludicrous. The guy played 1 year. Hurts has been to 2 Super Bowls. I know you got A.J. Brown. I know you got Devontae Smith, and he's a good player. Not great, but he's a good player. I like Dallas Goedert. He's fine. And we all know what Saquon Barkley is. Okay, great offensive line. He's got players, but what quarterback that wins a Super Bowl doesn't have these kind of things around him? You got to have good players around you, and I'm not going to hold them accountable for it.
And I'm glad you said that, because I say that all the time. All the time when people say that about basketball players, they say that about, look who he's got. Look, who did Joe Montana have? Who did Terry Bradshaw have? Who did Troy Aikman have? Every great quarterback had great players, unless your name is Tom Brady, had great players around them. It's the same thing. Magic Johnson played with Kareem. You know what I'm saying? Michael Jordan played with Scottie Pippen. It irritates the hell out of me when people do that. But getting back to your original question, if a lot of people give pushback on the Jalen Hurts thing because he doesn't light up the stat sheet, but at the end of the day, Cam Newton didn't light up the stat sheet either, and he was an MVP. And Cam Newton was considered, when he was on point for that 2 or 3 years, Cam Newton was considered a top 5 quarterback in the league. Not in my opinion. I was never a Cam Newton fan.
Yeah, not in my opinion either. I mean, that guy never had back-to-back winning seasons.
It was. I think Cam's persona kind of kept him in the spotlight. What's up, Steve-O? What's up, Josh Bev TV? What's up, Cuzzo?
Yeah, what up, Josh? We'll touch on that Justin Fields thing in a second. We were just talking about that, but we'll circle back in a second.
But yeah, I think if you're going by wins, it's the same thing with Brock Purdy. A lot of people, Brock Purdy's not, and I'm not a huge Brock Purdy fan, but the guy wins. These quarterbacks, they win. And Jalen Hurts has won a Super Bowl. And like you say, that when I saw that list and I saw that Jaden Daniels was ahead of him, that's just people just hyping up. It's like a recency bias in reverse. On the flip side, it's like, come on, Jaden Daniels is good, but to say that he's a top 10 quarterback right now as a sophomore basically is ridiculous. But I would probably put Jalen Hurts in the top 10. I'd probably have him 8, 9, like they have, 7, 8, 9.
That's
But
too low, man. How can you even say that? I got to, again, open it up to you guys over there if you want. 516-205-7574. How can you say this guy is a winner? I mean, he can do a play in the NFL that nobody else can do, the tush push. I mean, other teams have tried it, can't happen. He's an accurate quarterback. He keeps getting more accurate. He can run the ball. He's very good at play action, very good deep ball. I mean, what is there to not like about you? 8th, 9th? I mean, how many? All right, I'll give you, of course, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. I would argue Joe Burrow. I really would. I know Joe Burrow is incredible. If you want to take him over Jalen Hurts, I'm not going to flip out about it. But after that, Matt Stafford, Jalen Hurts is better than him right now, I think.
I think here, and I'm probably guilty of that too. It's the stats. It's the but ultimately the biggest stat is winning, and I get that.
Yes.
I've never been a like where people are always talking about how Tim Tebow, he's a winner. This guy's a winner, and I get all that. But at the end of the day, where did he finish like last year in the MVP race? He's not. There's a lot of people that don't consider him, and right or wrong, and like I say, I'm guilty of it too. I'm kind of shallow when it comes to my quarterbacks and how I perceive them to be really good or like top 10. So like you say, you take your big four, and then you could make an argument that Matthew Stafford's better than Jalen Hurts, but I wouldn't. If you were starting a team, would you take Matthew Stafford or Jalen Hurts? You really take Jalen Hurts starting a franchise over Matthew Stafford? I would.
Especially now, in a heartbeat. Matthew Stafford, 37 years old.
But he's still, but the guy's still as good as any quarterback in the league. You can make an argument that Matthew Stafford, and I'll get killed for saying it. You can make an argument that Matthew Stafford's a top 4 quarterback. He's just as good as Joe Burrow. If you're looking at just numbers, it's just like the Dan Marino thing. The difference is now Stafford has a Super Bowl. A lot of people forget that already. Stafford's got a Super Bowl now, so now you can put him in the upper echelon. You can put him ahead of Lamar. You can put him ahead of Josh Allen. You can put him ahead of Joe Burrow. He can make all the throws that they can make. He can do everything physically that they can do. He's just older right now. Matthew Stafford is still an awesome quarterback.
He is an awesome quarterback. That doesn't mean that he's better than Jalen Hurts necessarily, who has been to 2 out of 3 Super Bowls. And he has got – Matt, don't tell me Matthew Stafford doesn't have a great team around him. They played in the playoffs last year. Philly beat them. I know it was in Philadelphia. I get it. But I think that there's too much taken away from Jalen Hurts because he's got Saquon Barkley and A.J. Brown. But if you remember last year, A.J. Brown was all pissed off because he wasn't getting the ball so much. Yeah, because maybe Saquon Barkley was running the ball a lot. But Jalen Hurts is a gamer, and you know what? He doesn't turn the ball over. And he shows up and he makes the right play. I don't know, man. I just got him higher. Matthew Stafford, look, Josh Bev brought it up. Go with Lions over there talking about it.
Where would you have him as far as where would you rank him? Would you rank
Stafford
him?
is about 7.
No. Where Jalen Hurts? Where would you rank him?
I got Jalen Hurts 5. He went to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years, outplayed Patrick Mahomes in both of them, and then won one.
So let me ask you this then. So what, with all of that, considering that 3 of the top 4 quarterbacks perceivedly in the league have not done any of that. So what would stop anybody from putting Jalen Hurts as the second best quarterback in the league?
Well, I think
he's done all the things that you mentioned.
Yeah.
And the other 3 guys, Burrow, Allen, and Lamar, have not. So you could make a case based on that theory. You could make a case that Jalen Hurts is the second best quarterback in the league.
Steve-O, real quick, got to put that up there. 5 that he's saying.
You knew a tush push shot was coming.
Need the tush push. Look, they can give it to Saquon just as easily and probably get those yards over there. But Jalen Hurts is a winner. He's a gamer. And again, he's showing it year in and year out. He just keeps getting better and better. Look, their record for the last 3 years, I mean, they're in double digits every single year. They're a legit team, and he's the quarterback, and the quarterback is the most important position in football, maybe even in sports. So, I don't know. Steve-O saying 3 downs can't get 10 yards with arm and legs. Disagree with you guys, man. He's accurate. You got to see. He
did show that in the Super Bowl too. A couple of the throws he made in the Super Bowl were like, yeah, they were big time. So
that one to Devontae Smith was a dime in the end zone.
It was.
Oh, come on.
It was.
And then that one down the right sideline that almost was a touchdown, wasn't a touchdown. I'm sorry, Jalen Hurts can get the job done, and he'll show it again. And Steve-O saying, I guess 12. Got really good supporting cast. Oh my God, Jalen Hurts. I hope you're not listening right now because this is embarrassing.
Oh, that's what we do.
My God.
Little controversial.
My God. I'll put up the number one or two more times, 516-205-7574 if you want to get in on the action over here. We're talking quarterbacks. All right, so we disagree on Jalen Hurts. That's fine. Let's see where we stand on maybe another quarterback. Let's go to the Bears quarterback. And the Bears got a real tough schedule, man. So what are we expecting from Caleb Williams in year 2, which is almost like a year 1 because he's got Ben Johnson, brand new players around him, revamped offensive line, good weapons on the outside, DeAndre Swift, say what you want, and a pretty good defense, grabbing guys like Grady Jarrett. So I don't know. Do you think the Bears take that step up, and is Caleb Williams the reason why?
We've talked about this, and I kind of went in a little bit of detail about this before. Caleb will know what the Chicago Bears will know what the Ben Johnson effect is probably around week 6 or 7. And the fans are going to go in the first few weeks of the season with the Bears, and they're going to hold their breath because they want to expect something big, but they don't really know if they should. So this is a year, I think, if you talk about people getting a pass, like you say, he's got new coach, whole new coaching staff. He's got new players around him. He's got a lot of people to get used to. He's got the offensive line that he's got to get used to. They picked up, they shuffled a couple guys in there. I think, and you know this, and I told you I said this before, and I'll say it again, even with Josh Bev listening. The Bears roster is a scary roster. They have a really, really good roster. They made some good moves in the offseason. They drafted well. They're ready to take that next step. The question becomes, when are we going to see it? So they have a tough schedule. That entire division has a tough schedule. I know you're high on the Vikings.
Yep.
They are poised and ready to take that next step. They are expecting Caleb Williams to throw for 4,000 yards, which Bears, and I also read that they want him to complete 70% of his passes. That's all well and good.
Yeah.
But there's gonna be an acclimation period, and how long that's gonna take will, like I say, it will know by week 6, 7, 8 what this Bears team really is about. And if they're as good as I think they're gonna be, they could probably be 5-3, 6-2 at the semi-halfway point of the season, and then the Chicago fans will really start to be able to not have to hold their breath anymore because they're actually going to see what they have. And I'm actually looking forward to watching the Bears this season. I can't believe I'm saying that. Not be a fan, but I'm curious to see what they're going to do with Ben Johnson. Plus, I'm a Ben Johnson fan. So
I mean, you got to have some curiosity about what they're going to do. They took your coach. They're in the division. You got to know what's going on over there. No doubt.
Absolutely.
Josh Bev saying, let's not move too fast on Caleb Williams over there. Let's see. He didn't have a terrible year last year, 20 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, but he got sacked a ton. He's going to have to really watch out for that, but that's why they got all those offensive linemen to protect him, all right?
Steve-O's taking a shot at your boy. He said that TD was underthrown by 3 inches, as they would say about Brock.
I don't know. Looked like a few pretty good passes to me, but you know what? It is what it is. MVP of the Super Bowl? I'm sorry. Jalen Hurts, MVP of the Super Bowl. What are you going to do? Would have been MVP of the other one.
30 seconds on that. Can you believe how they just trucked the Chiefs?
Yeah, I believe it.
They just watched it going back, and a few weeks ago, I just, casually just going back, and they rolled the Kansas City. That game was not close, man. That was an embarrassment. And Patrick Mahomes actually looked, for the first time that I've seen it, actually looked like what the hell's going on? What is
He was
this?
scared.
a little bit. So
He really was, man. It was like that Tampa Super Bowl where he just running for his life, had nowhere to go. He got sacked 6 times in that game. Yeah,
insane,
no good.
insane.
No good. All right, in Indy, they get their quarterback sacked too often and get hurt. And Anthony Richardson got hurt last year, coming off shoulder injury, but he's going to play. He'll be ready to go if he beats out Daniel Jones, who was trying to resurrect his career, kind of like Baker Mayfield. And you know what? In fact, GM Chris Ballard for the Colts said that he kind of compared Jones to Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, saying that if they resurrected their career, why can't Daniel Jones? I don't know. Maybe he can.
Well, the problem I have with that statement is that you're at two different ends of the spectrum. Sam Darnold had one good year, and
True.
nobody was really. But Baker Mayfield, you kind of saw that coming. Baker, I'm not a huge Baker fan, but I like Baker Mayfield. So if that makes any sense at all, but you kind of saw it coming early on. The first few games with the Bucs when he's putting up those numbers, like, you know what, maybe he finally found his stride. If I'm Daniel Jones, I accept that half of the compliment. Like, oh man, my GM thinks I'm close to Baker Mayfield, but then he goes and offsets that with with Sam Darnold. It's like, I don't know if I'd want to be compared to Sam Darnold, whereas a lot of people think that he was just a product of Kevin O'Connell and that he's not really going to do all that well in Seattle. So that's going to be another way.
Seattle. It's going to be freaking no sleeping in Seattle, and it's going to be horrible, sleepless, and nobody's going to get any freaking. It's going to be a nightmare. I'm telling you, that little kid is coming in.
The 12th, no more 12th man. They're going to have a hard time getting 9 in there.
They can scream at the top of their damn lungs. Ain't nothing going on in Seattle. I'm sorry. I do like their defense a little bit, but they're going to have a lot of problems scoring. I'm sorry. Steve-O, no camera. Kenny got a camera. I'm not sure where Kenny is, to be honest with you. But we move on. We keep plowing. We wish Kenny all the best. We hope things go well. We all hope things go well for Kenny. But, yeah, so it'll be interesting to see who does win the job. But, damn, man, if Daniel Jones wins the job over Anthony Richardson, you got to get Richardson out of there and start over again. He's gonna
win. He's gonna, either whether it's an injury or whether it's just performance based. I think Daniel Jones, by at some point in the first half of the season, ends up being. He might even go into the season as a starter. So, but we'll put some chips on that later.
I said we were going to talk quarterbacks. We're going to keep talking quarterbacks. We're going to go to your boy Russell Wilson, who was named the starter for the New York Giants. Now, good move, no doubt. That's why you brought him there, to be the starter. Let Jackson Dart learn. So I'm cool with it. I think you leave Russell Wilson in there as long as he is winning and making them competitive. And if he and Neighbors can develop this combination together, wow, amazing. They don't have a lot of great offensive pieces, but if they have a pretty good defense, and let's see if the coaching comes around. Let's see if Brian Daboll gets his shit together and starts coaching like he was in Buffalo and getting these guys to move around the field, do some options, do some movement. You gotta do things on offense. You can't just stay still and say hut hike like the way that Dak Prescott. Everybody knows the cadence. Here we go, and then he snaps the ball. All right, you freaking idiot! Come up with something different, for God's sakes. Everybody knows when you're snapping the ball. Maybe that's why you guys suck, for God's sake. Oh God, losing my concentration over here, Prime. Jesus, losing it.
Brian Daboll, I think, is one of those hotshot coordinators that's learning that it's a little bit more difficult to be a head coach than it is to be just a coordinator. So we start there. And as far as Russell Wilson, you do keep him in there for as long as it takes. As long as the Giants are competitive, they probably won't win a lot of games this year. They probably won't win more than 6-7 games. If they win 7 games this year, I will be elated, considering the season that they had last year. And
they got a tough schedule.
They do, and that's not even mentioning how how Washington's improved in that division. So those are going to be 6 tough games right there. They'll
Even
probably go
Dallas.
like one. There's a realistic possibility they go 1-5 in their division this year.
They go 0-6, man. I mean,
They
Dallas,
could.
Washington,
I'm
Philly,
giving them
all
one.
good.
I'm giving them a win either versus Washington or Dallas. But I think I'm probably going to go 1-5. But we'll do all those over unders and stuff as we
Yeah,
get
we're getting
closer
close.
to the season. But
We're getting close.
this is a year to me that Brian Dable is. This could be his last year in New York. And
It
if they
very
don't
well
get
could
this
be.
right with Russell Wilson, this could very well be his last year in New York because the Giants have here. And the perception of this is that, the Giants need to get back to what they were. Well, being a Giants fan, the Giants have never been a consistent 11, 12, 13 win team. Never. Ever,
No.
ever. The
Never.
2 years
Not
that they
even
went
with
to the
Eli.
Super Bowl, they were wild card team.
Yep.
So
Not even with Eli.
No, so they're not. So what they need to do is they're trying to find their way to get to that point, and it's difficult, man, because the problem is you've been bad for so long. You haven't even been mediocre. You've been bad for so long that every other team in your division and a lot of other teams in the conference have passed you by. So now, where you only had a couple inches to go, now you got a couple of feet to go, and it's just they dig themselves in a deeper and deeper hole every single season. Every time they have one of these 4-12, 4-13 seasons, whatever the case may be, you're digging yourself a deeper and deeper hole, and you're distancing yourself from. You're making it harder for yourself to be competitive because as you get worse, everybody else around you is getting better. Who would have thought the Commanders would do what they did last year? Nobody.
Hey, Jaden Daniels, man, unbelievable.
So we're hoping that Russell
Grab
Wilson
as an
can
MVP candidate.
right, and we're hoping that Russell Wilson can bring some of that magic. But I don't know. Like I say, if they win 6 games this year, 6-7 games, I'll go out and buy me a Russell Wilson jersey. But I just don't see. I don't see a world right now, realistically, where that's going to happen, man. Their schedule's too tough. They need a couple more weapons on offense. Their defense is solid. Their defense is going to be there. But they're going to, City Juice, it's hard to win in the NFL, especially if you're not used to winning. And this particular group of New York Giants is not used to winning. They have no point of reference. Right. So it's hard for, where they're basically starting at square one. So Dable, like you say, needs to get his shit together. And, I know you don't have Josh Allen, but you got to figure something out. This is why they're paying you all that money. You got to figure something out. But I think if they win another 4 or 5 games this year, he could be gone.
Yeah, the thing with the Giants, I don't see them winning a whole bunch of games. It's going to be tough. Again, we talked about the schedule, third hardest in the NFL. We're going to see Jackson Dart at some point this year. They're going to try to find a stretch where there's a few games that aren't so tough. Maybe get him a few games at home, or maybe even it's better to have him on the road with not as much pressure with the crowd on him. You never know, but I think that we're going to see him this year, bro. So strap on your seatbelt, baby. We're going for a ride. We're going for a ride.
My Lions got the second hardest, and then my Giants got the third hardest schedule in the league.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. I wanted to get some quarterback talk in there, but we got something brand new for y'all right now. Primetime's got a new segment over here.
It's called Big Deal or No Deal. So, chat, you can feel free to viewers, you can feel free to chime on this. But what I do is I present the prophet with a couple scenarios, and he's going to tell me if it's a big deal or if it's no deal at all. And you guys feel free to chime in, call in. You see the number there on the screen, 516-205-7574. Steve-O, City Juice, Josh, McNiner, all you guys feel free to chime in on these as well. So, Prophet, I'm going to present to you a handful of scenarios, and you tell me if it's a big deal or if it's no deal at all. And we're going to start with one of the most obvious ones. The Detroit Lions losing both of their coordinators, Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson, to head coaching jobs. Kind of touched on this over the weeks.
Yeah.
Do you think this is a big deal, or do you think this is no deal at all? If you're the Detroit Lions,
I think it is a big deal when you lose 2 mainstays, coordinators like that have been in the organization for that amount of time and have won over these past few years. It's going to be an effect. Now, I heard Jared Goff talking today saying there's not a whole lot of different things. We're running the same plays. We're in the same kind of rhythm. Things aren't so much different from last year, even though there is some new verbiage this year. So, with Jared Goff saying that and seeming serious about it, I don't think it's going to be a major problem. But when you lose two coordinators of that caliber, and they both go out and get head coaching jobs because they deserve it, there's going to be some pullback in that at some point somehow. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with that. We do have a caller. We can go to the line right now. We're going to go out to Josh. We have on the phone. Josh, what's going on, buddy? You're on Power 32.
What's going on, Power 32?
Hey,
How you doing, man?
So I'm just listening to you guys discuss, the Lions, and I understand that the coordinator's being missing, but what's actually changing? Like the product that's on the field, like what's actually going to change? I understand, like we may not have like different plays. They may be breaking down. The Bears might have improved that way too, but what's really going to change since the coordinators are gone? I don't think it's that big of a deal, to be truthful, because we still have amazing players. We still have Jared Goff. We still have Amon-Ra St. Brown. We still have an amazing team and an amazing defense. And then Hutchinson is coming back. And remember, to start the beginning of that season, Hutchinson was looking like he was going to be the defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
So let's keep that in mind and understand that it's like I get it about the coaches and they are important, but it usually comes down to the players that you have. Like, and if you look at the product that the Detroit Lions put out, they have very great players in a lot of good positions, whether it's the special teams, defense, offense. Like, they have great players. So I don't think it really has anything to do with the coaches per se. So I'm just going to call it's not a big deal, guys.
So with the Lions getting healthier, let me ask you a question. Now that they hopefully are back, full force, ready to go, their players are back, do you believe that they're the front runner now, maybe even over Philly?
Okay, from honest observation, you guys seen that Super Bowl like I did. I'm going to say the Lions do have to prove themselves. Like, you have to get into that situation. You can't play Washington and drop the ball. You can't do that, Jared Goff. So I understand you have to prove yourself, and it's very hard to win in the NFL. But I won't put them over the Eagles yet. I love the Lions, but I won't put them over the Eagles just yet.
So and I'm we thank you so much for calling, Cuzzo. Here's my pushback on that. First of all, the Lions defense is not that great. That was one of the things that shot them in the foot last year. Number two, I predicted that had they played Philadelphia in an NFC Championship game, that Philadelphia was going to beat them because Philadelphia has a better roster. Number two. Number three, I will agree with you on, and I've said this before, that offense is Dan Campbell's offense. That Dan Campbell created offense. So the only thing you're going to lose, which is huge, alluding to what Prophet is saying, is that you lose the flow. You lose that feel. You lose that in the moment. Okay, this, if I have to change this, you got a new coordinator. He's a brand new coordinator. He's never been a coordinator before. And we don't know. Yeah, the playbook and everything is probably still going to be the same. But at the end of the day, Ben Johnson just had a feel for calling plays, calling this play at the right time, in the right situation. So Aaron Glenn, to me, defensive coordinators may be a little bit overrated unless you talk about guys like Vic Fangio and, guys like that, because defense is basically read and react at the end of the day. There's not as many, it's not as difficult to scheme up a defense as it is to create an offense. But having said all that, I will still say that the Lions are not the front runners for the NFC. And right now, with that schedule, and Steve-O alluded to this, you lost 10 coaches. You lost 7 coaches off of that team, and you have a top 2 most difficult schedule in the league. So it's going to be very, very difficult for the Lions they're not going to win 15 games. If they win 11, I think we talked about this, Prophet, over and under was 10.5. So I took them at 11, but we'll see how the first 4 or 5 games of the year go. But thanks, thanks again for calling in.
Well, it's always Detroit versus everybody, but
always. You know how we
honestly
do.
think more so about chemistry, and like I said, the coaches do make a big deal, but I think it's the talent and the product that's out there on the field. But we will see. Like, I honestly do believe they're going to win plus 11 games, but I could be being biased, but I'm pretty sure that Detroit's going to win 11 plus.
No, I like the call. I like the call out of Josh, really, because Detroit has been, really good for the past 3 years, even as it started, with that game against Green Bay going in a few years ago and then making the playoffs the past couple of years, getting to the NFC Championship, being ahead of the 49ers. So it's not like, okay, we lost these coaches and it's all over now. No, we have experience. They're an experienced team. So, Josh, you make a good point with that, man, and we appreciate you calling in, bro.
All right, man, I just wanted to say
Oh, lost Josh there. But
we lost
lady
him.
called in.
hello.
Oh, there you are. All right, Josh, you're back,
Yeah, I
buddy.
just wanted to say, man, shout out to the Cover 32. I really like what you guys are doing. Profit, prime time, man. Keep it up. Keep going. I really enjoy watching you guys. I'm learning a lot, man, so keep going.
That's awesome, man.
Thank you, man.
Thanks a lot, brother.
Good.
We appreciate it. All right, good stuff. Love it. Love when people call in. Got to have it. And we'll put up the call in number one more time because we're going to do a few more things. I know we're running a little bit late tonight, but it's the NFL, man.
I got two more. I had five. We touched on a couple early, but I'm going to just do three because I know we're up for time. So my number two scenario, my big deal or no deal. Kirk Cousins is still on the Atlanta Falcons roster.
Yeah.
Is that a big deal or is that no deal?
That is no deal right now because if Michael Penix were to get hurt, then you got Kirk Cousins, even though he didn't have a good showing, especially at the end of last year. You got a viable backup over there. And Atlanta feels like they're a team that can win that division and make the playoffs. They beat Tampa Bay twice last year, and the Bucs ended up winning that division, So it's not like Atlanta's some terrible team. And Kirk Cousins is not a terrible quarterback. So I think no big deal that he's still there. You too. I love it.
You.
He's not terrible. He's all right, but he's getting older. He's not as good as he was anymore. So, I'll go with that. But I don't think I think that it's smart to have him there. You never know what's going to happen with Penix. If God forbid he does get injured, and let's say they're 8-5, sniffing the playoffs right there, sniffing the division championship in the NFC South, then you know what? You got Kirk Cousins.
Here, and I'm glad you said that, and I'll be brief. What if you're 8-5 and you're sniffing the playoffs? Does the panic set in if you're the coaching staff? Like, can we really depend on Michael Penix to close this thing out for us and clinch a playoff for us? Or do we make up some excuse or whatever and try to get Kirk Cousins in there the last couple games of the season when it's all on the line, if you're that close? Or do you just ride or die with Penix regardless of what happens?
Oh, no, you're right. That's it. Michael Penix is your quarterback now. It's all over. That's it. There's no Kirk Cousins sighting unless, God forbid, he gets hurt. Or, he would really have to shit the bed, Penix, in order to not be the quarterback. They drafted him high. They brought him in last year. He did pretty good. He had a decent record. He finished 500. Did all right from quarterback TD to interception ratio. Mm-hmm. So they feel they have something with him. There's no way they go back to Kirk Cousins unless Penix, God forbid, gets hurt.
I agree with that. So, and the last one is
Steve-O likes Penix. Steve-O likes Penix over Caleb Williams. How about that?
I liked Michael Penix up until I saw him play Michigan in the championship game, and that kind of showed his true colors. It showed with a little bit of pressure, a little bit of scheme, and some, your big time performers not being big time. He wasn't the type of quarterback that can will a team to victory. He's the type of quarterback that needs his weapons to perform for him because he's anyway. He's not the kind of quarterback that can just put a team on his back and squeak out a couple of, you'll win. You're not going to win because of Michael Penix. You'll win because his guys were on. Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, those guys were all on point. But you're not necessarily. I don't think he's at that point yet to where he has that intangible of being able to put a team on his back and win some games when his guys aren't doing well. So
He needs help, especially at this young age. No doubt about it. So I'm with you.
So, and our third and final big deal or no deal. This one is kind of this one affects all fans, not just fans of a particular market. ESPN, there's a report out that ESPN is potentially looking to purchase the NFL Network, which would include NFL Red Zone, which is probably the best TV show during the football season that you can watch.
I agree.
Is that a big deal or no deal? Because in my opinion, I think that ESPN, if they get their grubby hands on something like that, the price is automatically going to go up. And I don't know. I don't want to see. I like Steve Hastings, but I don't need to see Stephen A. Smith. I don't need a round table of 97 people talking about when I'm watching my Red Zone to just sit there. I want to watch the Red Zone. I want to be done. I don't need the NFL Network to basically be an extension of ESPN, who's already shit in the bed with a lot of the stuff that's going on there. But what do you think that's a big deal if they were to purchase the NFL Network, or do you think that's not a big deal at all?
Yeah, I think that's a big, huge deal. No doubt about it, because now you're bringing in an entire new corporation that's going to do things their way, and it's going to be different. And Scott Hansen, like you mentioned, that guy's a mainstay. He's a fixture. We want to see him. He does an unreal job. That guy is sitting there for 7-8 hours
by himself,
just boom, boom, boom. Every picture on the screen, updating us left and right. I mean,
he's like an air traffic controller.
Yeah, right.
That guy is awesome, man. Come on.
He is awesome. You don't want to lose that. But ESPN getting into it with the Disney Corporation that they are obviously involved with, I don't know how they're going to go ahead and screw around with this thing. It is perfect the way that it is now. Like you said, it is the greatest television show ever created. If you're a football fan and you want to watch more than just one game because your team is not playing, there's nothing better than Red Zone.
Absolutely. Nothing. I love it. And you know, we got 1 minute for a bonus one here. This actually affects, this kind of came up in the last couple of days. So we talk about contract holdouts and stuff like that. One that's kind of going under the radar is your boy James Cook in Buffalo. So if he's still on his rookie deal, is it a big deal or no deal that he's holding out in training camp and he's scrapping for a new deal? And do you think Cincinnati, or not? I'm sorry, talk about bad contracts. Cincinnati instantly comes up. Do you think that Buffalo will get this done by the beginning of the season? And if they don't, is that a big deal or no deal?
Yeah, I think they have to. It's a big deal because James Cook is clearly their second best player on offense. Yeah. They need him badly because, look, you know what I will say, you know, they got Davis and they got Johnson, Tyron. They do a good job with other backs, but James Cook led all running backs in touchdowns, receiving and rushing last year. He is an absolute tremendous part of that offense. And Steve-O saying Cook says, I deserve what I want. You know what? He deserves. Yeah. I mean, the past couple of years, he has shown that he's great. And if you want to do that, listen, the James Cook timeline is from now until maybe 3 years in the future, and he's done. So if you want to get the most out of him right now, pay the guy, let him be Josh Allen's, second man in charge over there. Do what they got to do because he is a fantastic player. Look, I won my fantasy football league last year in large part because of James Cook and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I freaking love those guys. I hope I get them again. We got fantasy football coming up next week. We're going to talk about it, as a matter of fact, with you guys. So you guys should definitely be calling in on that as we get Damian Lee in here.
Damian Lee chiming in. How you doing?
What's up? This is a make or break year for Buffalo and Pittsburgh. Interesting with Buffalo, yeah. I mean, you feel like they have a longer lifeline, but with Pittsburgh, prime, it's Aaron Rodgers this year, and then what? What's going to happen?
Exactly. And to kind of, Damian Lee brought up a good point. People don't associate make or break with Buffalo. It might not be make or break with Buffalo, but it could be make or break with Sean McDermott.
That's interesting.
How long are you going to keep this up? The same thing. We even put John Harbaugh on a potential hot seat because you've had these great teams. You've done all this. You've done all that, but you haven't won the big one. You haven't even sniffed the big one.
No, it's been a long time, 12 years.
Yeah, and Damien, you bring up a really good point because it may not be profit to your point, the window for Buffalo closing, but it might be the window closing for Sean McDermott because this is what 7 years now,
Yeah.
6-7 years. So it's come on, man. Let's get it together, like you said about Brian Dable. Get your shit together.
Yeah, you really. And when Kansas City, a team that hasn't scored 30 points in the entire year, and they put up 32 on your defense in the most important game of the entire season in the AFC Championship,
Yeah.
I'm looking at Sean McDermott. That's your defense, buddy.
Yeah, he was a
Yeah.
defensive coach. That's what he does.
Okay.
So
I like that. Good job, Damien. Excellent.
7 years. Yeah, 7 years.
you
Thanks
said.
for that, Juice. 7 years they've been dealing with this guy. And
Unreal.
he's had Josh Allen for 6 of those.
That's right. That's right. And they keep
So-
winning division after division. But you know what? You got to knock off the champs. You are 0-4 against Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. That is not going to do it, man. You got to get something's got to change. Something's got to change. And you know
it'll
what?
probably end up being the head coach.
We're going to be sleeping on Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City again this year. What are they going to do?
Yeah.
Look, they went 15-2 last year. In games they tried to win, they were actually 15-1 because the last game of the year they didn't give a shit. They put Carson Wentz out there or whatever. It was garbage.
Carson Wentz, baby.
Carson Wentz.
President.
What team is he going to be on freaking next year or the year after that? Who the hell knows?
Hey, as long as his checks don't bounce, I'm sure he don't give a shit.
Right?
Pay to the order of.
No doubt. Josh
So-
Bev ended it off well over here saying everyone
right.
is Tom Brady.
That's
You got
exactly
that
it.
right.
That's why he's the GOAT.
He is
That's
the
why
GOAT.
he's the GOAT.
Still maybe the most impressive thing, him going over there 40-plus years old to Tampa Bay and winning in his first year. Unbelievable.
And
Yeah,
I
they
come-
had a very good team, no doubt about it. But you know what? That was incredible. 7 championships. Tom Brady, again, has more Super Bowl wins than any other franchise in the entire freaking league. This is one person, all right, that played for 20 years. The league has been around since 1930. He's that good. It's unbelievable.
Thomas Edward Brady. I love it.
Oh, man. Way to go. Hey, man, I had a lot of freaking fun. That was cool that we got the call in. We'll put up the phone line again next week. We're going to do some fantasy football next week as we get closer to the season. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to have some guests coming on, as a matter of fact. We got AFC East and NFC East coming up in 2 weeks from today's show. We'll have Courtney Harden on. We're working on another guest. We'll see how it goes for the AFC. But, yeah, man, and we're going to want you guys to jump in. We'll put up the phone line every time. Josh Bev, awesome. Love it. Appreciate you guys. Steve-O McNiner, City Juice, everybody. Absolutely great. What does Steve-O got to say?
Priest says, I got to point out because I'm a critic, I thought my phone had a bad screen, but it's the shadow on Prophet's forehead. It's funny because we were talking about the lighting before the show. All
That's
right. All right. And on that note, that's funny. But yeah, you guys make sure you check us out on Twitter.
Oh, man.
I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitch. We're both on LinkedIn. We're both here on YouTube. So check us out. Thank everybody. Steve-O, City Juice, Josh, Bev, McNiner, Damian Lee chiming in there late. We love you guys. And like I say, don't ever, if you guys want to be on the show during our division breakdowns, just give us a shout.
Yeah,
And
man.
we'll send you guys an invite to get you guys on the show, get these division breakdowns. But next week it's going to be fantasy football. It's going to be my first delve into fantasy football in, I think I said 7 years. So I've been out of the game for a while. So Prophet's going to walk me through the new stuff. And you guys might want to be here for that just to see the measure of my naivete. I won't call it stupidity because I'm not stupid, but I'm a little bit, I'm basically a noob all over again when it comes to fantasy football. So you guys want to make sure you check us out next week.
The Prophet's going to help Prime out next week with his 7 rules of fantasy football.
Uh-oh.
7 rules of fantasy football draft. I'm going to give it to you guys next week, and I can't wait to hear the feedback, man. But today was great. Had a whole bunch of you guys in there. Absolutely love it. Having a great time. Steve-O, you're the man. You make me laugh all the freaking time. But all you guys out there, again, much appreciated. We will be back next week. Fantasy football. Bring your action, man. Yeah, Steve-O, join that, man. We'd love to have you on. No doubt about it. Thank all of you guys. We appreciate it. Prime, we're out of here, baby. Let's tell them. Peace.
Peace.